Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Banner Saga. This is a game that I've had in my library for a very long time and have never played, which honestly is kind of a crime because I've heard nothing but amazing things about this game. The art style, the gameplay itself, the storytelling, I've heard good things about all aspects of it, and by now there are 3 full games, so I figured now is, as good a time as any. All I've done so far is gone into options and ensured that under the settings there are subtitles turned on, closed captioning, languages set to English and whatnot. I'm going to be playing with the keyboard and mouse as opposed to a controller, even though I know that that is an option. But as this is a tactical game, I do believe that keyboard will probably be easier to deal with in the long run. And I noticed that there's an option for heraldry here, which I clicked on and noticed that you're able to customize your flag. There are quite a variety here. Seems that they were designed by Kickstarter backers, which is very cool. And I just sort of scrolled through. Naturally, there are 11 full pages, so there are quite a lot. You can even sort them by category. But I just chose one that I felt was aesthetically pleasing, this one. Not too complicated. Some of them, especially as you get down the list, have quite a bit going on, so I felt this one was nice enough. But yes, outside of that, you'll see that it says resume there, but that's just because I very briefly started just to test things out. The story in the Banner Saga changes based on the choices you make. You will occasionally switch between lead characters, witnessing the story unfold from different perspectives. The gods are dead. In their wake, man and giant survived through a tenuous alliance, driving black destroyers called Dredge deep into the northern wastes. Now is an era of growth and trade. Life goes on. Only one thing has stopped: the sun.
Sjá Dredgjana á ferli neðan vor. It has been several long months on the road. The first signs of snowfall accost us on our approach to Strand, largest of the trade cities on the Val-human borders, and our last collection before returning to the capital. Several days ago, the sun simply came to a stop in the sky. Though during these long winter days, none of us can be certain how long it has been this way. Some of the men in the caravan have taken it as a dire omen. I am not quick to superstition, but I myself will be glad to be done with this year's rounds. We have been warned by stranded travelers about brigands on the path through Ridgehorn, our road home. Our captain seems unconcerned. Perhaps he is as eager as I to be done here. We will rest here this day and inquire further when we speak to the governor.
Well, alright. Things escalated rather quickly, didn't they? I just want to point out, I mentioned it already, but the art style for this entire game is outstanding. I love it so very much. You've arrived just in time. The chieftain in red and his men are now looking at a tougher fight than they bargained for. Drag around the screen to see your surroundings. Click the check mark to continue. Alright, simple enough. We can also zoom in and out with mouse wheel. Helpful. These portraits show the order of initiative, taking turns from left to right. Your allies are blue. The enemy is red. It is your turn to act. Movement happens before action. This ring shows your shield banger is active. The blue tiles around him show where he can move. Some characters fill more tiles than others. The horned allies are a race of giants called Varl, who take up 4 tiles each, while humans fill a single tile. This can have a huge impact on your strategy. Click the tile you want to move to, then click the check mark to confirm. Move the shield banger here to get him into attack range. Alright. To target an enemy, click the tile on which they stand. Ally tiles are blue, the enemies are red. Target this enemy now by clicking his tile. You can choose to either attack the enemy's strength or break his armor. The numbers beneath each icon, 2 and 5, show the damage you will do to that stat. Strength counts as both health and damage. A loss of 2 strength means you'll now do 2 less damage. If strength falls to 0, the character falls in battle. Armor blocks strength damage, but can be reduced by a break attack. By breaking armor, you open them to take more damage in the future. This enemy has only 5 strength remaining. A strength attack will kill him. Click the fist now to attack his strength, then to confirm your choice. Alright. He's down. Each time you make a kill, your renown grows, which is used later to improve your characters. After taking an action, your turn ends. Next up is the enemy. Turns always alternate, even if you are outnumbered. Despite being at full strength, the chieftain will do little damage against your shieldbanger's high armor. Now it's your warhawk's turn. He appears to be out of range of these enemies, but all characters can use willpower to boost their actions. Willpower is a limited resource, so use it wisely. By clicking on gold tiles, a character can move further than usual, at the cost of 1 willpower per gold tile. Red pulsing tiles beneath your enemy show how close you'll have to be to get in range. Move your warhawk into attack range now. So because I'm moving into 2 yellow tiles, 2 willpower will be expended, and I see we have 8 down here, so we should go down to 6. Got it. Standard attacks only affect a single enemy, but your warhawk has a special ability, which gives him a unique advantage. Click on your warhawk's tile to access his ability. Clicking your character's tile will bring up all of his combat options, including move, ability, attack, and end turn. Click the purple ability icon now. The ability description appears in the tooltips below. The warhawk's Tempest allows him to slam multiple enemies at once. Select an enemy and confirm your choice. Tempest, strike adjacent enemies in a spin attack. Rank 1, normal strength damage to 2 adjacent enemies going clockwise from target. So we start with him, it'll spin around and then hit his friend, and we'll do 7 to both of them. At least that's what I'm getting from this. Alright. That made quick work of the chieftain's bodyguard. When there's only 1 enemy left, players enter pillage mode. During pillage, each character moves in order, and there are no more guaranteed turns. Check the initiative to see how the order has changed. Your allies now get to move twice in a row. If a character does not move on his turn, he can rest to regain 1 willpower. The chieftain will rest this turn. Looks like the chieftain is in some trouble. Your shield banger won't be able to finish the job with a normal attack, but willpower can be used to boost your damage. Click the chieftain's tile to attack. Click the fist and then the stars above the fist to add willpower. The number of stars available each turn determined by your exertion stat. You'll see the damage number go up as you add willpower. Click a star and then the green check mark to kill this enemy. So he's at 9, we do 8 by default. Spend 1 willpower, we get 9. And exertion stat, I'm assuming, right here. So we get to use 1 willpower at a time, meaning we can move 1 yellow square, or do 1 extra damage, or anything else willpower lets us do, which... yeah, so willpower is specifically movement, harder hits, and using special abilities. Got it. Alright. 6 renown.
Like a rabid wolf, that one. How did it come to this? We fool ourselves believing that peace will last. My grandfather built all this from a poor fishing village, you know. He watched the gods die, watched the chaos that followed, watched man and var slaughter each other, even before the Dredge arose. All we've done is traded one struggle for another. Now that there are no more Dredge to war against, we war against ourselves. This chieftain meant to kill me, and he's not the first. A dozen families in the city would gladly take my chair. This one had men waylaying merchants, both north and south of the city, strangling trade, quite well, I would add, though he denied it to his last. This sort of wolf doesn't stop biting because the head is cut off. It just grows a new head. I'm in a bad way, my friend. Help me finish this fight and I'll gladly send you on your way with double our king's tithe. Take any men you need. They're loyal, I promise you that. They will meet you down in the proving grounds.
Chapter 1. Only the sun had stopped. You're approached by a familiar man who walks in step with you as you're leaving the Great Hall. He cuts to the chase. Is that Eric or Eric? I'm going to go with Eric. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Eric, Steward of Strand. I manage the governor's business. Oh, this is dialogue. It was blue, so I assumed it was thoughts. Okay. Eric, Steward of Strand. I manage the governor's business. Uben, isn't it? Oh, dialogue options. Interesting. So I assume you are our primary character, or at the very least the one who will be controlling in these segments. I noticed that you weren't in the actual combat yourself, which I suppose makes sense. You do seem to be an older fellow. It is. The governor tells me you'll be giving us a hand. Seems a bit chaotic around here, Eric. It's been worse. We've got a lot of irons in the fire. What does he want exactly? Scalfings that you didn't hack up in the Great Hall scattered after you took out their chieftain. The governor just wants to make sure they stay down. Was hoping you'd join me at the marketplace by the docks. If there's anyone left to worry about, I know who can tell us. Click the market tin to visit the merchant. Alright, I'm seeing we have some stats up here. Clansmen, fighters, and Varl. We have supplies, a number of days, options, renown, and a morale meter. Interesting. I can drag around the map a little bit, though it sort of autocorrects me to where I should be looking. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Well, to the markets then. Let me handle this. You meander through rows of open-face houses and eroded stalls. Colored canvases flap on a briny current. One man in particular blanches as you approach. I'm not in the mood today. For what? Talking to an idiot. The Skullfing's chieftain bled out about an hour ago hard, so when you tell me what rat anus the rest of them crawled back into, nobody's going to try and kill you this time. They don't talk to me. I'll say nothing. Eric overturns his flimsy table, scattering Had's assortment of junk across the ground. Gods! Eric! Laying it out a bit heavy, don't you think? What are the Skullfings? Noblemen up by East Wall, but that was months ago, last I know. Had skulks away with a wave of Eric's hand, gathering things from his hovel, disappearing for a while until this blows over, you figure. Your bodyguard steps forward. Are we done here? Gundolf, were you wearing green back at the Great Hall? No, just bought them while you were walking around. Why? They look good. I'm glad you care. Gundolf goes off to look at more stalls. Eric, that man of yours seems unreliable at best. A blind dog wouldn't trust Had, but he used to be Skulfing. If they're licking their wounds, they've probably gone to old haunts, not new ones. Nobleman is a mead all. Best I can tell, the name's ironic. Listen, I know a guy who would love to put a few of these skulls in the ground. I'm going to find him, I'll meet you there. Shouldn't we have an approach of some sort? What a luxury. Come on, you've already mopped up worse today. Just make sure the governor remembers his promise. Double the usual tithe. I'll remind him. Alright, to the mead house. You arrive in front of what appears, or in front of what must be noblemen. A few minutes later, Eric appears, with a weather-beaten man introduced as Valgard. I'll point them out, Eric says over his shoulder. Ready? You're walking through the front door. They run to a mead house, says Valgard. I'll be surprised if they can stand up straight right now. Okay, here we go. Valgard boots the front door open so hard it won't close again without repair. As you enter the hall, Eric is already at the head of the table, his axe drawn. Wide-eyed, drunken Skalfings scramble to find their own weapons, turning tables and meat steins in the process. Alright. I see I have a ready button. I assume this is this sort of prep phase, maybe? So, first things first, I want to look at everyone's abilities. So, we got to see you a little bit, Shield Banger, so you have decent armor, and health for that matter. Return the favor. When hit by an adjacent enemy, counterattack for 1 arm damage. Okay, that's helpful. Gunnulf, our bodyguard, has quite high strength, and still fairly decent armor. Heavy impact, splash damage for 1 strength damage. I'll have to see how that works. I'm assuming that means adjacent and possibly forward facing. I'll have to see the exact limitations of that. And then we already saw Tempest, which is the spin attack. So you're sort of a hardy berserker type, is what I'm getting. Damage dealer. Edic, you have relatively balanced and significantly overall lower than either of our Varl, which I suppose makes sense. You do have significantly more willpower, though you are 7 out of 5, which is interesting. You have light steps, so you can walk through ally tiles, and you can rally, which gives willpower to all allies at any range. That's very interesting, so you can spend 1 of yours to give everyone else 1. That's very cool. And then we have Valgard. He has, for a human it seems, at least compared to Edic, he has very good armor and strength, also has the significantly high and seemingly over his maximum willpower. Shield Wall. +1 armor to adjacent allies and self, so we want him in the center of everybody. Stonewall blocks damage to strength and armor for 1 round, so he can just be resistant to damage for a round. That's very interesting. It doesn't appear as though we have any choke points on this map, which is sort of an open hall where we have a lot of overturned tables in one big open area. So let's see, 5, 8, 6, 6, 5, 8, 6, 6, 5, 8, 6, 6, 6, 6. So they're all pretty much standard across the board, with also about 3 and 4 willpower about being the general here. So I am going to move you to the center. I feel like that makes the most sense. Because we have a higher concentration of enemies over here, I want you to be here so you can absorb more damage. I'm cool with Eric being behind him because he has the ability to move through allies, so I'll keep him back to sort of dodge getting any hits for the time being. And then I'm going to move Gunnulf right here. So I feel like this makes sense. We're centered. I could move everyone to be quite lopsided. I could move us all to one side, which could be a thing that we do. I could move us all over here to hug this corner, so that way we can kind of pick off him relatively quickly, and then these folks would hopefully take a solid, you know, round or 2 to actually get to us. So I might actually do that. So I'm going to move everyone over here so we can sort of hug this wall. So we can kind of, ideally anyway, take you out and then have them all start coming to us. This could be a terrible idea, but I truly hope not. Alright. Well, this toggles everyone's numbers to be always on. I might have to do that later on when the game gets more difficult, but for the time being, I think we're ready. I was hoping for more of a fight than this. Look at them, it's gonna be a butchery. Alright, so one thing I was not totally clear on is exactly how to know the distance people can move. So you can move 4. You can move 4 as well, it would seem. And you can also move 4. So I guess 4 is just sort of the standard. Alright, you could engage. You have 5 armor and 8 health. So with our 10, if we attacked you right now and we tried to do a health attack, we would do 5 to your health. And it's worth noting that the closest enemies are these two. And as long as we stay basically away from this diagonal, they can't hit us. So I may actually, just for the sake of advantage, run up and spend willpower and go ahead and attack you without spending an additional. Alright, they're moving up. Eric can't quite reach. But he'll go ahead and move up without spending any, I think. And I want to see how rally works. So he spends 1 willpower and gives 2 to somebody. So if I tried to give you any, would it work, is the question. It does not, so now you are actually at your max. So maybe you just get a few bonus ones when you initiate. Also, I should look at their abilities. You have Shield Wall. You have Shield Wall and Bloody Flail, a series of strikes which randomly attack strength or armor. It's a sort of higher overall damage, but you don't get to choose where it goes. Run through. Run through enemies doing armor break damage, then hit the target from behind. So it's a double attack, and you go behind them. And you do armor and then a regular hit. That's nasty. And those are all the unique skills. So it seems like pretty much all of them have Shield Wall, which I suppose makes sense. They are all wielding shields. And now with that, I don't actually know if we can reliably reach with you, now that I think about it, which is a flaw in the plan, I must admit. But we're going to move you up. It gives us the attack option, but I cannot reach you, can I? Interesting. I'll just end my turn then. They're all hunkering up over there. Right. Oh, you don't have any exertions. You have willpower, but you can't spend any of it. Oh, and this, look here. +2 due to caravan's morale. So everyone starts with 2 above their maximum because we're in good morale, and I imagine as the game goes on we'll actually have to manage that better. That's interesting. I should have caught that earlier. So I also should have caught the fact that you have no exertion. So you have willpower, but it cannot be spent. That's very interesting and kind of sucks. That being said, you're able to use your skill, so I assume that's your only real use of your willpower, isn't it? To do your Tempest attack. Alright, he dealt 2 to my armor. That's to be expected, I suppose. Alright, let's try and plan a bit more ahead with the idea of moving everyone. I'm trying to get used to the idea of having the alternation too. So you still can't reach if I'm over here, say, but you have pretty much free reign. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't reach him, but you'll be able to reach him or him. So I'm thinking my best bet is actually to leave you stationary and just finish him off. So when does he get his turn? Not for a while. That's very good to know. So for the time being, we could move you up, but with a strength of 8, you wouldn't actually do that much damage in the long run. I'll move you to still be behind, and I don't see a reason to rally for anybody yet. Maybe I should be more liberal with my use of willpower because I have him basically as a generator for it. So I can place you there fairly safely and just do a straight attack on him. Now, I have 9 and he has 8 full defense, so I'm going to go with a shield attack. Or armor attack, rather. Alright, he broke one of my armor. That's not very appreciated. And I'm going to move you over to actually get some damage done. I really should have thought about his limited mobility, and the idea of putting us all kind of lopsided might not have been the best idea. But it's the first role mission. It's a learning experience for everybody. I get to make mistakes. It's fine. Okay, who moves next? You, and then you. Neither of you can do much, can you? So I'll move you here. And then you will attack. And you can do a full 5, but I'm going to bump it up to 6 to get a kill hit. They're going to move in. Chip away at his armor a little bit more, which is sort of concerning, but it's going to be alright. If I move Eric in here, he has 7, 8. So I can spend some... Alright, I'm just going to invest. I'm going to go in, and I know that they have shield wall, which is their biggest thing here, which I really would like to be able to start disrupting that. So I'm just going to do a very aggressive strike onto your self there. You can go 1, 2... What's your range? So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, you can't actually reach up here, can you? So I might as well just leave you here. Can I kill anybody? Not reliably, no. Alright, let's just do a relatively regular attack. This is not the circumstance we wanted to find ourselves in at all. This has been not ideal. Though if they're going to come to me, by all means. So I might as well... I can finish you off. I cannot finish you off because you still have plenty of armor. Though, knowing you, Gunulf, you still have 13, so you can kill quite a lot. So if I clear you out, he can come up and start wailing. So I'm going to do that, because this is a safe bet, it's a direct kill. They're going to start doing health damage, which is quite bad. 6, 6, 5, 8. 1 exertion. I could go up here and start trying to attack him from the top. And that could be valuable. Start trying to do some disruption. Because there's not that many enemies remaining, I'm going to try and just not be too frugal with my willpower, because I feel like I'm better off spending it as opposed to wasting it and just continuously tanking hits. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move off to the side slightly and attack you. I wonder where that 70% is coming from. Oh, I only have 4 strength. So because of that, it's possible that because my strength is lower than his, I'm starting to have only percentage chances of even doing damage. That's wild, okay. Well, I'm going to do some armor. Ah. That is not good at all. I really need to start putting in some work here. So, Gunulf, it's your time to shine, buddy. Take him out. Ah, there's that ram attack, which really does some damage. Alright, I can do 10, so I can take you out, or you out. I think I can reliably take care of both of you. Which goes first? You do. So for the sake of that, we want to take you. Ah, I need to get used to these controls. There we are. Now attack. Wipe him out. Now we're into pillage. God. I'm so sorry that that happened. That is disgraceful. Should not have happened. Should not have happened. Promotion. I noticed that there was a new banner that showed up alongside with him. So I assume whoever gets the last hit gets a bonus of some kind. I'll have to look into that. There they are. Gods be damned, I've got to go wash off this blood. Eric is looking out the hall windows into the bay. A fleet of longships approach with sails of blood reds and blues. One banner I know well. Vognir. Next for Vile Kingship last we spoke. The other flag looks important. Yeah, important I guess. See what I deal with all day long? Ah, things make a little more sense. You hoped I'd have a stake in saying everything's fine here when the royal guests arrived. Not me, the governor. Now I have to make sure there are no rotting bodies or pools of entrails still in the Great Hall before they come by. Can I ask one more favor? What is it? If you happen to stall our guests down at the docks, I wouldn't object. Maybe I will. Eric and Volgard hustle from the meat house. To his credit, Eric tosses the barkeep a spot of silver for the mess. You give an apologetic shrug and go to greet the new arrivals down at the docks. And with that, we will have to come back next time to greet the seemingly very important fleet of arrivals. I'm enjoying this quite a bit so far, I'm going to be completely honest. Even though I did have a unit fall in that last battle, and I imagine later on that has the high likelihood of having some serious repercussions. I don't think there are permadeath in this game, but I do, because there is a morale meter and resources and all that things, or all that stuff rather, I do sort of fear. So hopefully I'll get better with this. I just have to get used to the system. That's always how it is, isn't it? Well, alright. Until next time then.